I don't exist. So they're all characters that I played, including Jim Carrey, including Joel Barish, including any of those things. They're all characters. Jim Carrey was a less intentional character, right? Because I thought I was just building something that people would like, but it was a character. I played the guy that was free from concern so that people who watched me would be free from concern.
This one is wild.
Is that a gang sign that you,
Oh, like you don't know what it is.
I have no idea.
You don't know. Jimmy Fallon doesn't know. David Letterman doesn't know.
Jim Carrey does not usually hold back, but this time, right there on Joe Rogan, he started talking about powerful people who, according to online discussion, may have tried to shut him up after he began speaking about what goes on behind the scenes. The way he said it had people looking at Hollywood in a whole different light. Once that interview started spreading, viewers kept asking one question: who would have wanted him quiet so badly? Now the internet is piecing together old interviews, strange moments, and comments Jim has hinted at for years. And if there is even a little truth in the discussion around it, someone clearly did not want those words getting out. For years, people laughed whenever Joe Rogan talked about Hollywood and the way fame can change celebrities behind the scenes. A lot of folks brushed it off as jokes, conspiracy talk, or the result of people getting overwhelmed by fame. But now, with Jim opening up, the internet is looking back at certain stars in a very different way. Jim Carrey went on Joe Rogan and dropped names, sharing what he described as what can happen when you refuse to play along with the machine. The moment hit hard, and people are already watching closely to see what else might surface.
But you're really foolish if you don't believe in conspiracies.
Yeah.
Because just how many of them have to be proven true before you go, maybe I should reassess my position on these things?
That's 62 years after the JFK assassination, and we're still learning new information.
I think there's so many powerful people that are on those lists. There's so many powerful people that went and partied. Air quotes, partied. And how many of them went to the Diddy parties? Have you been paying attention to the trial?
This is what I hate,
but hold
because
on.
then it's like, Dennis, you
I'm
have
saying.
to have a formed opinion on everything.
No, you don't have to have a formed opinion
Yeah.
on everything. What you do have to have is the ability to know when you don't know what the you're talking about.
But I just said that. I said that to you the entire
You
time.
said
I
you
said
don't
this
believe
would,
it.
I said I don't believe it. And then you asked me, and I said this wouldn't be the hill I chose to die on because I don't. I don't.
But why
follow
even
it.
say you don't believe in?
if aliens are real, why don't they just land on the White House lawn?
When you go fishing, you check in with the president of the lake.
What the just happened?
Before we go any further, if you have been following those whispers, you already know Jim has seemed different for a while now. One moment, he was the wild comedian with the over-the-top energy, and the next, he was speaking slower, sounding more detached, and warning about fake identities and people losing themselves in the industry. Online discussion has long framed Jim as someone pointing to how Hollywood does not just create stars, it can wear them down, replace them, or push them out of the spotlight. According to that conversation, he may have seen the machine up close, from the pressure and control to the way it can swallow people whole. So when he started stepping back, talking more openly about spirituality, and even poking fun at the celebrity game on red carpets, some people thought he had simply changed, but others believe he was trying to get away before it consumed him.
This one is wild.
Is that a gang sign that you,
Oh, like you don't know what it is.
I have no idea.
You don't know. Jimmy Fallon doesn't know. David Letterman doesn't know.
They're
I
celebrating.
mean, you got to admit it's completely meaningless.
Well, they say they're celebrating icons inside.
Celebrating icons, boy, that is just the absolute lowest aiming, possibility that we could come up with. It's like icons. Do you believe in icons? I don't believe in personalities. I don't believe that you exist, but there is a wonderful fragrance in the air.
You don't believe certain icons have the power to make change, to think differently, to be bold, to inspire others? Artistry? You're one of them.
On the good foot. Ha! Yeah. You shut it down now. Yeah, no, I don't believe in icons. I don't believe in personalities. I believe that peace lies beyond personality.
Now pause right there, because this really hits differently when you think about how sudden it felt. Jim Carrey went from a box office giant to someone who, at times, seemed emotionally worn down. There were interviews where he sounded like a man who may have seen behind the curtain and did not like what he found. Online discussion has long connected Jim to comments about how the industry works, from closed-door circles to powerful networks, and the kind of pressure that can break people mentally. Some viewers even pointed to other celebrities who, according to online chatter, seemed to be handled differently after speaking too openly. Kanye West's warnings about handlers, disappearing for stretches, and coming back different kept getting mentioned. Gucci Mane was also brought into that same conversation, with some people saying he appeared changed in a very noticeable way. The pattern, at least in that online discussion, looked simple. Speak out, disappear, then return as somebody else. That is why people keep circling back to Jim's words, because the reaction was never just about one interview. It was about what his comments seemed to represent to viewers, who already felt something strange was going on. Once that kind of conversation starts, every old clip, every pause, and every offhand remark gets re-examined through a new lens, and the internet does exactly that. What makes this even more interesting is that Jim was never talking like someone chasing headlines. He came across more like a person reflecting on the pressure, the image game, and the uneasy side of celebrity life, which is part of why his comments keep getting treated as more than casual chatter. To some people, that makes his perspective feel more credible, while others still say it is all being read too far. Either way, the discussion has clearly shifted. Instead of seeing these stories as isolated celebrity moments, a lot of viewers are now connecting them into a bigger pattern, one that raises questions about who gets protected, who gets pushed aside, and what happens when someone starts speaking too openly about it.
They wanted to medicate me every day. You realize, like, they could have just switched the medication and I wouldn't be here. And on the news, they would have said it was because of a mental issue.
It gets even more unsettling when Jay-Z's name gets brought into the discussion, because Jim was said to have pointed toward Jay-Z as one of the major figures tied to these silencing circles. And to be clear, that is not being stated as fact here, only as part of the street-level conversation people keep repeating online. Some commenters have described Jay-Z as part of an elite network that, according to that chatter, does not take kindly to stars questioning how the game really works. Jim was also framed as hinting that Jay-Z moves in those powerful rooms through influence, leverage, and pressure, all to keep certain things quiet. That same online discussion linked him to claims about the Aaliyah situation and about keeping tight control over Beyoncé's path, though those ideas remain disputed and unverified. In that version of the story, Jim was said to be exposing how gatekeepers are alleged to make sure nobody steps out of line. The claim goes that if someone refuses the expected loyalty, private gatherings, or behind-the-scenes expectations, the pressure starts building fast. From that perspective, Jim may have seen the system up close and decided to step back before it wore him down. Meanwhile, voices like Jaguar Wright have also been part of the broader conversation, speaking loudly about these issues. Aaliyah was said by some online commenters to have rejected Jay-Z, stayed independent, and then passed away in the 2001 plane crash. Officially, it was ruled an accident, but Jaguar and others have questioned the timing, saying it looked too convenient. In that narrative, Aaliyah was removed from the picture, and Beyoncé's path looked a lot clearer.
Maybe Aaliyah's family will be held accountable. They turned their heads to. And maybe Hype Williams will be charged for conspiracy to commit murder. It's time to talk, Hype. It's time for the public to ask you why Aaliyah couldn't get on Lenny Kravitz's plane. And you had to put her on that clown car plane. Who asked you to say that? And do yourself a favor before you make any statements. Please remember, I was the dog got a little X. You're apprenticed. I know a lot more about you than you think I do. Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could.
Today, I have very little time, so I need to know ahead of time, should I get a bridesmaid dress ready for your wedding with Jay-Z? Are you marrying Jay-Z? I'm not engaged.
It's not. It's a big fat rumor.
It is, but do you think it's a possibility that you will be engaged?
One day I hope to be married, eventually with children. I grew up with both of my parents and my sister, big family. They're important to me, so I'd love to have a family.
Yeah, and so when will you and Jay-Z get married then?
People online have been going wild over it. One user said, "This right here, I knew something was off with her passing. I remember it all too well." Another wrote, "How Jaguar's not afraid of the mafias freaks me." Then someone else added, "I got goosebumps. Why would you need to sign an NDA about a plane crash?" Another person bluntly said, "That makes me wonder about that basketball player who passed away with his daughter." And from there, the conversation started circling back to the cloning narrative. The street talk about fake identities, dark energy, and people losing themselves just trying to survive fame. Viewers keep pointing to Jim's interviews getting more unusual, the red carpet moments where he seemed to mock the whole celebrity machine, and the claims that he refused to take part in certain rituals in private circles that some powerful people supposedly expected him to join. A lot of people are now arguing that Jim may have already been silenced in some way. Think about it. If Jim Carrey was being pressured by Jay-Z and those Hollywood elites, what exactly would they have done to keep him quiet? That question has really stirred people up. Some viewers believe Jim saw the same machine Kanye has talked about, the handlers, the medication, and the pressure from influential figures like Jay-Z. Kanye has also spoken openly about sacrifice, trauma, and control inside entertainment. He even called out Jay-Z as part of what some online discussions describe as the Hollywood machine behind the scenes, before disappearing for a stretch and later coming back looking calmer and more controlled.
I don't care who you are. I ain't taking no slice from nobody, right? I ain't taking no slice from nobody. It's God. That's the only person that I serve. My mom ain't here. My mama was sacrificed. You understand?
Yeah. And creation.
Michael Jordan. What about him? His dad, right? Bill Cosby, his son, right? Dr. Dre, his son. You know, out in Hollywood, a lot of people come up missing. Feels like it might be a lot of that in order to control, traumatize. They want to monetize and traumatize.
If you take people like Jay-Z and Pusha T, they made their living by our people. So how the they gonna stand up for our people? You know what I'm saying? But we forget that because we love Jay-Z's music so much. We love Pusha's music so much, right? But you think they would ever, Beyonce had the best for somebody else?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You think they would ever tell the truth? No, if they told the truth, they go to jail. You know what I'm saying? So you have liars.
Man.
Liars are now the face of our culture.
Jim may have been seeing the same thing, and, at least in the way some viewers read it, choosing to fade from the public spotlight before it got to him. People also pointed to his Caesar Awards appearance, saying the energy felt different there, almost like something was off. The smile seemed a little forced, the eyes looked tired, and that led to more online talk that Jim might have been trying to warn people before the machine moved on, without the version of him the world knew. It gets even more intense when you bring up other celebrities, like Avril Lavigne. This one never seems to leave the internet, because some fans keep repeating the claim that Avril was silenced and later replaced by a double name Melissa after her rise in the early 2000s. Supporters of the theory point to changes in handwriting, voice, personality, fashion, and even facial features. Avril denied those rumors years ago, but the theory keeps coming back every few months, with some people acting like the original Avril disappeared a long time ago. Then there is Britney Spears, who was reportedly kept under a conservatorship for years. The emotional breakdowns, the public incidents, and the way she seemed to beg for more freedom all got folded into the same conversation, along with other young talent that some online viewers believe got pulled into a system that changed them. Joe Rogan has also spoken about what happened with Britney, and Britney herself has hinted at people being after her and asking for help.
I was not cooperating in rehearsals, and I haven't been taking my medication. All this was a false. He immediately the next day put me on lithium out of nowhere. He took me off my normal meds I'd been on for 5 years. And lithium is a very, very strong and completely different medication compared to what I was used to. You can go mentally impaired if you take too much, if you stay on it longer than 5 months. But he put me on that and I felt drunk. I really couldn't even take up for myself. I couldn't even have a conversation with my mom or dad really about anything. I told them I was scared, and my doctor had me on 6 different nurses with this new medication come to my home, stay with me, to monitor me on this new medication, which I never wanted to be on to begin with. There were 6 different nurses in my homes, and they wouldn't let me get in my car to go anywhere for a month. Not only did my family not do a goddamn thing, my dad was all for it. Anything that happened to me had to be approved by my dad, and my dad always didn't know.
So when she had a public fall-off or stepped back from the spotlight, some people started saying she had been cloned or replaced, and that is the kind of rumor the internet never seems to let go of. Then another huge name gets pulled into the conversation: Eminem, or more specifically, Marshall Mathers. According to online theories, the real Eminem allegedly vanished after a reported 2006 car event that has been discussed online for years. Conspiracy-minded viewers claim the version of Eminem seen after that looked noticeably different, with a sharper face, a colder stare in interviews, and a different tone in the music. Even longtime fans have said the raw hunger and chaotic energy from the older Eminem seemed to fade.
Of course, people get older, artists evolve, and styles shift over time. But conspiracy circles argue the changes felt too dramatic to ignore.
And that is why people keep circling back to Jim's comments, because once the internet starts linking one name to another, the whole conversation begins to snowball fast. What may have started as a single interview now has viewers reading old clips, side-eyeing public appearances, and treating every quiet moment like it might mean something more. Of course, none of these claims are confirmed, and a lot of it is still just online speculation, but that has not slowed the discussion down one bit. The bigger issue is how quickly people connect these stories to a larger pattern, where fame, pressure, and control all get mixed together in the same conversation. That is what makes this so hard to ignore online, even for people who usually stay out of celebrity drama. Once a few high-profile names enter the chat, every new detail gets pulled into the same web of suspicion, and the reactions only get louder from there.
2006 and has been replaced by an Android clone. Well, that's at least what some fans are saying. And no, it's not just his change in music style and appearance. Not completely anyway, because this viral clip has been doing the rounds again.
Marshall Mathers. Some of you may know him as Eminem, but he's going to join the Saturday Night crew with our music intro starting next Saturday night. But folks, I want to take you to the...
Notice something a bit odd with that? If not, here's another go.
Stay out. In my head.
So people are saying that this fake Eminem is actually just a clone, and that the real Marshall Mathers died in 2006 car accident.
Jim looked like he might have been seeing the same system and refusing to play along. The rituals, the control, the way some people online claim celebrities get reshaped when they become a problem. Jim seemed to be saying this was not him losing it. Some viewers read it as him getting out before things could go any further. This was never just about one comedian calling out one host. People online keep tying it back to how Hollywood can chew up talent, lean on powerful names to keep order, and push out anyone who stops cooperating. Jim's comments about Jay-Z and other elite circles, as some discussions framed them, fit into that bigger picture for a lot of viewers.
The same pattern, according to online chatter, gets linked to Kanye, to other stars who seem to change, and to people who faded from view.
It feels like a system protecting itself while the talented ones carry the damage. Jim saying it out loud made the internet pay attention, and now the conversation is getting even louder. More people are asking whether Jim Carrey was onto something, and whether Jay-Z and those Hollywood power circles really wanted him quiet for saying too much. What happened behind closed doors that made Jim step back from the game? And why does the industry always seem to protect the powerful, while the ones who speak up end up silenced, pushed aside, or changed beyond recognition? If this story had you thinking about Jim's interview, and all the reactions around it, like, subscribe, share, and comment, then see you on the next one.